Hi ladies and gentlemen, Raven here again. This is going to be a quick video in depth about Safar, the fallen angel Safar. He is a Goetic spirit. Yeah, I remember. He's a Goetic spirit now. I'm sorry. It's been a good while ago that I wrote that article on him. Again, you're more than welcome to reread the article. Safar, statistically speaking, does well. Safar is the video I did on Safar, the initial video, is the most watched video of all of my YouTube videos, okay? Specifically spirit videos as well as overall. You can find the link to the initial article in the description below. Okay, I'm going to give you guys a quick recap for those of you that don't know who Zepar is. Like I just said, Zepar is a Goetic spirit. He's one of these spirits mentioned in the Goetic, the magical workbook of the Goetic, the Lesser Key of Solomon Part 1, the Goetic again. And Safar is in there. He is said to appear as a soldier dressed in red, and he is capable of inciting love between men and women, as well as make them barren, okay, as in infertile or unfertile. It's been centuries that I've worked with, well, metaphorically speaking, centuries that I've worked with Safar. Safar is definitely one of the regular spirits that I work with. As a matter of fact, Safar has 4 customers right now. Safar has 4 customers right now on whose cases he's working. The basic things have already been covered. You know, Safar, when he appears, Safar is solar. He appears as a medieval harness, or a warrior in a medieval harness, and he also speaks like one. Just imagine someone being in a medieval harness and talking through said harness, and then you have an idea on what he sounds like, and so on. Just consult the article for the basic things about him, basic attributes. This video is going to be about him in detail. It was last night that I worked with him, and I've worked with him a good while. He was reluctant to share a good deal with me in the beginning, okay? But that's normal, okay? It's basically a situation of get to know me first, and then I'll tell you more about me. Because he was reluctant before that, and I couldn't blame him. But I also, on the other hand, don't care too much. It's all about results for me. In any case, regarding Zepar, it was last night that he shared a good deal of his information with me. So I'm going to share that with you guys right now. The text is already on that article. I've already added the updated text in the initial article, but I'm going to share more with you guys. Okay, so let's start off first off by saying that Safar, regarding his appearance, he appears as a warrior in a medieval harness, and he has a lot of weapons with him. Sometimes he has a rifle with him, a musket. Other times, or generally speaking, he has a musket with him. Other times it's a more modern rifle to an assault rifle, you name it, an automatic assault rifle. He also has a sword with him sometimes. He generally has red wings and a reddish aura, although that has turned into a yellow aura and yellow wings sometimes in the last month or 2 that I've worked with him. And he also told me, I mentioned in the initial video and article, that he told me that he has a reddish glow because he has a fondness for marsh. But he went in depth about that last night. And I also mentioned in a video regarding called the relevance of spiritual attributes, that I noticed too that solar spirits in general, okay, infernal solar spirits, have a red glow with them. Asiel is also one of them. Asiel is one of them. Asiel, just a brief recap on Asiel too, okay? Asiel, when he last appeared to me, showed me his true form, of course. I already discussed that in his article. I'm not going to go into all of that. But he also appears as an angel in red. I mentioned this inset video that I mentioned, the relevance of spiritual attributes. And Safar explained to me that the reason that his kind, basically, that a lot of solar spirits that are infernal, so you can call them demons, fallen angels is a better abbreviation or a better phrase. The reason that they appear with the reddish glow is because the dark side of the sun, basically the infernal aspect of the sun, has a lot in common with Mars, or aligns near perfectly with Mars. So Mars from a neutral perspective. Okay, so hence the reddish glow. So basically the dark side of the sun, the infernal side of the sun that they correspond to or belong to, has a lot in common with Mars from a neutral perspective. Okay, so with neutral Mars in terms of attributes and so on. So that's why they have that reddish glow. Okay, because it's almost like they're Martian in nature, despite the fact that they're solar originally. That's what Safar told me. So that also, he told me that, excuse the ringtone. In any case, that also explains, and he told me that's also why he appears as a warrior, and he has weapons with him and so on. And that's true, you know, when you come to think of it, that is normal. Okay, a lot of Martian spirits have those basic attributes. They appear with a lot of weapons, or they appear as warriors, or so and so on. In any case, as fighters. But again, yeah, that's the deal with Safar. Okay, but that really emphasis is really laid upon that with Safar. So that's that. Another interesting thing that Safar has told me is that he falls under Metatron. Safar is not your typical or generic solar spirit. He told me that he falls under Metatron. Normally speaking, solar spirits fall under Raphael, the Archangel Raphael, for the most part, and there are one or two that either fall partially under Michael or otherwise. But generally speaking, yeah, all solar spirits fall under the Archangel Raphael, since he is the traditional ruler of the sun. But not Safar. Okay, I remember when Safar spoke to me, all of a sudden I noticed that Metatron was standing right next to me when I sat in front of Safar's altar, and that's when Safar made that statement that I fall under Metatron. That's why he is here. So Metatron just briefly showed himself, and yeah, I was like, okay, I did not expect that. Okay, usually he doesn't fall. Again, like I said, I expected you would stereotypically expect or typically expect Safar. You'd expect Safar to fall under Raphael, but no, Safar falls under Metatron. Okay, and it's now that I'm talking about it that I'm noticing that link. You know, that's why Metatron's face. Metatron also has close association with the sun. He's not solar, but Metatron has an association with the sun. Okay, he's not really aligned, Metatron, and that's why his face is on the first pinnacle of the sun. So yeah, now that I'm talking about it, I do see a relevancy somewhere. But in any case, Zepar falls under Metatron. He's not your stereotypical solar spirit that falls under Raphael. He falls under Metatron, period. That's another thing that he also shared with me. Let's see, there is more. Okay, he also told me, like I mentioned again in that video called the relevance of spiritual attributes, that he, again, as a solar spirit, he doesn't just cover love-related matters and matters of fertility and infertility. He covers all things basically associated with the sun as a specialty, albeit he's not that skilled in other solar matters. For example, prosperity, as in financial prosperity, so money, and healing. He told me that too. He also has healing abilities and dealings with money. But again, when I confirmed this, I noticed too that that's not his. That he also, despite the fact that he has this specialty too, that's not his strongest suit. Okay, of all of his specialties, that it's not his strongest suit. As in, he don't expect tremendous results from Zepar when counting on him for all solar matters. So yeah, that is it on Safar in detail. Let's see. All right, and he told me too that he used to belong to the Order of Powers, the angelic Order of Powers, also called Potestates and so on, or powers or virtues, you name it. Again, he used to belong to powers. That's what he told me, and he doesn't like to be called demon because he considers himself to be an elite one. He used to be powers, and therefore he considers himself to be elite in nature, and he just doesn't like to be called demon. It's similar to a derogatory term for him. He says fallen angel is more appropriate, to call him a fallen one. that would be is better. But calling him a demon, he does not like to be called demon. He won't be offended, but he just doesn't like it. Hence the statements that he's made in the past that, hey, I'm not a demon, you know. But he only makes these subtle statements. He doesn't elaborate on why, or he doesn't lay emphasis on almost in an offensive way, as in, hey, don't call me demon. You know, he just drops these subtle phrases every now and then, just a brief sentence, hey, I'm not a demon. Okay, but yeah, that is it regarding Safar. So again, to recap, Safar falls under Metatron. Safar covers general, aside from love and fertility, Safar also covers general spiritual solar attributes as in money and healing and all things associated with the sun. Safar used to belong to the order of powers. Okay, he is a fallen angel, and again, the reason that Safar and solar spirits, fallen solar spirits in general, or spirits of an infernal nature, solar spirits of an infernal nature, the reason that they are, the reason that they have a reddish glow, okay, generally speaking, a good deal of infernal solar spirits do. Asiel is another example. The reason that they have that is because the infernal part of the sun, it has a lot in common attribute-wise with Mars, with neutral Mars, you know, with Kabbalistic Mars and Geburah overall. So that's why, fire is what you should keep in mind. That's why specifically him, okay, great emphasis is laid upon this, or not great, but emphasis is laid upon this. That's why he appears as a warrior with weapons, and he appears, you know, as a soldier in harness and all of that. So yeah, that is it regarding Zepar in detail. Bye.